Hello, everyone. Anderson here. I had an interview I wanted to share with you that I conducted with my friend Aleksandra in the summer of 2021. In the interview, she discusses her experience as an actor, writer, director, and as a filmmaker overall. She also touches on what it's like being a woman in the film industry, as well as some personal passion projects that she has since put into motion. Here's my interview with Aleksandra. Hello, friends. It's your boy, Anderson Marchack, and I'm here with somebody that I've been meaning to speak with for a while. It's an acquaintance that I met in the world of film and entertainment. And I'm going to let her say her last name for you, but her full name for you. Please welcome my friend, Aleksandra.
Hello, everybody. And yes, my full name is Aleksandra Svetlichnaya.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can see why Anderson just had me say
Yeah, we don't butcher names on here. We don't do that.
Sure, you know what? I think that people appreciate that.
Absolutely. So, well, this is a really nice segue into our first question because you have a unique name. Um, please let us know your uh, why you have such a unique name.
I don't know. That's my parents.
That's your parents. Well, were you born here?
I was not born here.
Okay.
Yes, yes. No, I was born in the former Soviet Union.
Okay.
So my first language is actually Russian.
Awesome.
Yeah, my family came here when I was a kid. So I've been in this country for a while now. But obviously, that's where my name and my little bit of an accent comes from.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I said earlier that I met you as far as the entertainment industry is concerned. And if you could give us a little backstory and let us know how you got into the entertainment industry and, what you've been doing early on when you got into it.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of my favorite things about the entertainment industry is there's no like one singular way to do it, right? Like there's so many different paths and different directions and different areas of it even. And I love that because I'm definitely not the kind of person that can just stick to one single box like for the rest of my life. I can't do it. I can't.
Right.
So that actually goes into my journey into the entertainment industry because I kind of didn't take, not that there is a traditional path, but I kind of took like a detour and a shortcut and then a long way around and then kind of ended up there. So I actually started out in fashion. I thought I wanted to work in the fashion industry. And then I just realized, corporate world was just not quite for me, which I think that's probably the most kind of like traditional thing to say, because I think a lot of people in the entertainment industry came from that, realizing, what, the corporate life's not for me. I want to be doing something different, or I want creative life to be my main life and career and all of that. So I decided I didn't want to be doing that. So I transitioned from kind of like the standard fashion industry into costume and wardrobe. So closer to being at the cameras and all of that. So I started working with that, and then I realized again that I just couldn't stick to one thing because I didn't want to just dress the character. I wanted to design the character and then what they were saying, and then I also wanted to be on camera, and then I also wanted to what they were doing. I just can't keep my hands to one thing. So from there, then I got in front of the camera and I started acting and also modeling. So kind of went back towards the fashion side a little bit. Right. And that's why I don't believe in really having regrets, because I think every single thing you go through in your life, whether it's career or personal or whatever it may be, it ends up somehow feeding into whatever it is that you end up doing down the line. So if I didn't have that fashion background, I honestly don't think I would be as good of a model, because I wouldn't know how to sell the clothes or sell the accessories, because I wouldn't know anything about the production or the sales of the clothes and the accessories. So it all comes together at the end of the day. So started acting, started modeling, and then I want to say maybe about 5 years into that, I decided that I wanted to try my hand at directing and writing. So I was always creative. I was always doing creative writing, but I never had written a script before that. And the main kind of factor behind that, not just the fact that I can't stick to one thing, but also because I wasn't finding that I was being cast for things that were truly my passion. Now listen, it is always a privilege to be cast for something, no matter how big or small the role is. Being a part of any project, I think, is a privilege, and especially if you are getting paid for it, hey, that's your job, right? Like that is the business. Your job is to portray that character, and that is awesome. That is absolutely awesome, and it was an amazing learning experience, all the different projects that I've been a part of. But I really didn't want to continue just in those same shoes for the rest of my life, let's say, or however long my own camera career was going to go on for. Because as some of you guys may know, with acting, a lot of it is what is your type, right? Like that's how a lot of casting is done. I mean, of course, yes, we can talk about the various actors that broke out of their type, but when they first got their foot in the door and stayed there for a while and became successful, it was because they had their type and they were playing within their type. Now, one way to go is to become very successful in your type and then break out of it, or I do everything sideways, obviously. Right. I was like, oh, this. I want to do my own thing. And so basically what is my type? Well, as you guys may, those of you who maybe follow me on social media, you will know that my tagline, so to speak, is not your typical model type blonde.
Right.
That was always my type, the model.
Right.
And the model goes into several things. It could be an actual model, like in fashion, or it could be a girl next door, somebody's girlfriend, victim, party girl number 5.
Right.
And again, as an actor, you should be able to do a whole bunch of different things, and I'm very grateful having done that. But I don't want to go on and continue to just be playing those roles, and especially the roles, like I said, like such as the victim and those kind of roles that I just don't feel strongly about. I like strong female characters.
Right.
I like power. So for me, that's what I really wanted to push with my film work and my acting work. So that's really then what drove me into going behind the camera and writing, producing, all of that stuff.
Oh, yeah. Excellent. Excellent. Well, we're going to save that for a little bit. We'll get there in a second. Absolutely. I took a little peek at your IMDb, and you've worked on a few things that are of note here. You had some, it's background work, but these were some pretty big projects. I saw you were on Creed. You were in The Upside. You were in recently released Mayor of Easttown, and also one of my favorite movies, Split. So could you describe that process of, being doing background work, and perhaps any challenges you may encounter being a woman in the industry that you're in?
Sure. Well, actually, that's a great example. So, well, first of all, there is a huge kind of range in what background work consists of, right? You could have a scene where there's 10,000 boxing fans and you're somewhere in the background. Or you could be all the way in the front next to the principals, but you're still technically a background actor because you're not speaking. You don't have, any dialogue or any interaction potentially with the principals. So within all of my work in that genre, I have done, all of it. I've done all the way in the back, and I've done all the way, up front, watching the action happening. And that is where, that's where it comes from, where, different experiences are all valuable. Because first of all, as an actor, again, it is a privilege to be working on the film set. And that is, or a TV show, whatever it is. It is a privilege to be on a set, no matter how big or small. And I think if we ever forget that, then we're kind of heading down the wrong path, in my opinion, because I don't think you should ever be too good or too big for
That's nice.
So I mean, listen, we always make, of course, it's real life. We have to make decisions. Maybe you can't afford to take a no budget project, even if you like it, because you have to pay your rent. Like that is different, right? But versus, and I've met people like this, and I'm sure you have also, that are like, oh, I'm not doing background work, or I'm not doing this. I'm sorry, is your name on the billboard? No.
Right.
Not that it's okay for people who are, if their name's on the billboard, it's not like they're going to do background work, but obviously if they had that kind of attitude, that would still not be okay. So like, in my opinion, it doesn't matter where you are in your career, you should never be acting like you're too good for stuff, right? So that's why even like now, I'm like, I'll go do background work. Like I've been in this
good for you.
10 years, but I'm like, yeah, I'll go do background work. I'll go do whatever. Like, let me be on a set because I love it. Even if I have to get up at 4 a.m., which sucks. I'm not a morning person.
Sure.
Or, if I have to drive a ways away, whatever it is, like, it's not easy, but I love it. So working on projects like that, not only is it a privilege, but it's also amazing as a learning experience.
Sure.
We already know that. I started in fashion. So I didn't go to film school. I've actually never taken acting classes or directing classes, writing classes, nothing like that. So everything that I know, I have learned from either doing it myself hands-on, because I was lucky enough to talk my way into an opportunity somehow, or it's by watching other people, and like things you mentioned, for example, for Creed, I was very fortunate. That was a set I was on for 8 days. And for those of you guys who are not familiar, days in the film industry are very long. Some days we're on set for 18 hours, not kidding. But that was such an amazing learning experience, because that was one of those jobs where I was technically a background actor. You're not going to see me in the final cut, but I was right there in front of the principal. So Michael B. Jordan, Tessa Thompson was just a little bit off to the side. So I got to watch them act. I got to watch the biggest boxing scene in the whole film be put together. So I got to see the stunt coordinators, the choreographers, how were they doing it? How did they make sure the actors were safe? How did they make sure it looked good? How was the director of photography getting the shot? Stallone gave us so many amazing, inspirational, just like tips throughout the shoot, because he would just get up and like give a speech to the whole.
Oh, that's nice.
It was amazing. I mean, he gave us some of the famous quotes, about falling down and getting back up and all of that. But then he gave us some other bits of just advice and wisdom. I believe there's still a video on my public Facebook where I remember I got in my car after shooting all day, and I was just so just wound up by how amazing it was. I remember just recording a little video of me talking about it. So no spoilers or anything. Movie's been out for a while. It's just me in my car. But if anybody is interested in hunting that down, it's out there somewhere. I remember just getting up the set and just being like, I need to say this. I know I can't post it for a long time because spoilers, but like, I just want to talk about it. But yeah, getting back to it, I got to see so many different departments come together and so many different pieces come together. And that is the best way to learn something. I mean, I am absolutely, education is important of all kinds. So if your best way or if what you have available is taking a class, whether it's in person or online, that's amazing. I think we should always be educating ourselves and learning new things, whether it's for work or for personal stuff. I do it all the time. But if you can get yourself on the set, if you can just be
there we go.
extra, that is the best way to learn. Because I've been on other jobs where I was kind of just in the background. I wasn't near the action. Maybe I was only there for one day. But still, no matter what, if you're smart and you keep your eyes and ears open, you learn something every single time. Sometimes you learn what not to do. Maybe you're on the project and you're like, well, this is poorly organized. And then
there we go.
I'm not going to do what they are doing. That's not good. So you always learn something. So that's what I love about, even background work, just in and of itself, because sometimes that's the only opportunity you're going to have to be a part of a big project. Because, maybe they're just coming into town to shoot and they already have their main actors and they're not looking for any more. So I could either say, okay, well, heck you guys then, because you don't want me to be the star. So I'm not going to, right. Attitude. So I would be like, okay, well, how can I be a part of this? All right, well, they're looking for extras. Okay, cool. So let me come in the door that way. And also, you never know. I've definitely been on sets where I was supposed to be somewhere in the background, and then I ended up getting moved towards the front.
Nice.
I've had some opportunities where they weren't originally what I thought was going to happen, but then it did, and that's awesome. I don't want anybody to have their hopes up that you're going to be an extra and then you're going to be the lead star. It doesn't really happen. But there's always opportunity. Absolutely.
Excellent.
But to kind of circle back to what you were asking about the challenges, though, that with the background work, it's funny because of my model type,
okay.
I am what's called highly recognizable. So basically, they can't put me in one scene and then change my clothes and put me in another scene, because people are going to be able to pick me out, even when I'm in the front.
Yeah.
And they don't want that for background actors. So sometimes that can be a blessing, because you get pulled for that featured little spot next to the principals. And then sometimes it's not, because they're like, you know what, we can't use her too much, because she's going to be taking attention away from what's going on.
Got you.
As a filmmaker now, I do get it. So it's a double-edged sword, like most other things. You know, it works towards your favor and then sometimes against it. But again, you always learn something, so it's all good.
Well, we thank you for that. Appreciate it. We touched on it a little bit, so now we're going to get to it. I see you wearing the T-shirt, and you eventually made your way into becoming a creator, a writer, a producer, a director, obviously lead star as far as the DINNERVERSE goes. So please tell us about the DINNERVERSE. I've watched all of them. I've been to some of the live events that you promoted. So please let us know about the DINNERVERSE.
Okay, well, saying that. So the DINNERVERSE is a short film anthology series. It, like myself, it is many different things. We don't just stick to one genre. It's a little bit of horror, a little bit of comic book, superhero, a little bit of action, a little bit of comedy, or a lot of comedy in a lot of ways. Some drama, some genuinely scary moments, I think. So it's a lot of different things, but that's why the anthology aspect appeals to me, because we can do something different with each course, so to speak.
There we go.
Installment in the DINNERVERSE, which is the title of it as a whole. Now, the very first film in that series was Dinner.
Right.
DINNERVERSE. And that was the project that about 5 years into my acting and modeling and wardrobing and all of that, that was the short film that I decided to make. Having zero directing experience, having no experience also running a whole production. But I think when we overthink things, that's when we stop ourselves. Because if I would have stopped and been like, okay, well, I've never done this, and I've never done this, and I've never done this, like I would have probably still been thinking about it right now, because we just kind of limit ourselves when we overthink it, or we try to wait for the right time, or, I had no budget. So that's a huge thing to stop people a lot of the time. But I'm the kind of person, like, if I want to do something, I'm just doing it, and I'll figure it out as it happens. And taking it back to all of my previous work, that's the other bonus plus side amazing thing, is that you need people. Not only do you see things, you need people. And pretty much everyone that's worked on, well, definitely the first film, that was everybody that I met working on other projects. Whether it was the actors or the crew, it was people that I met doing other things. Some of them were people who I met, being an extra, or maybe it was a small local shoot, or maybe, whatever it was. I met those people and we made a connection and we stayed in touch, because yay, social media.
Yeah.
And then once it came time for me to be doing this thing, I reached out to them, and they were interested in what I was doing. It appealed to them, and they wanted to be a part of it. And that's really how the first film happened, how it was born, so to speak. And then from then on, it kept going, because I honestly, the first film, I wasn't really thinking, I wasn't trying to plan a whole series. I was just thinking, let me create this something, and let me have some footage of me kicking butt, because I don't have anything like that. And then it just kind of took a life of its own. And some of it is thanks to the amazing team that I've had, the amazing actors, the amazing makeup artists, the amazing composers, DPs, everybody, they all contribute to giving life to this thing, right? But then once it was online, and we were getting, press, and we were getting yes, and we went to Comic-Con.
That's awesome. It's so good.
So it was kind of like, all right, well, at this point, it's like, am I going to seriously stop it? No, like the train left the station, So it was kind of like, am I going to kill the life of this thing that I created? Am I going to slay it? No, I'm going to feed it, and I'm going to
exactly.
Feed it. So that, from then on, like now we have, what is it, 5 now films in the series?
Yeah.
Oh, see, I can't even keep track of all my children. Yeah, so and it's been so amazing, and I can't wait to get back on set with my dinner family. I have the best time truly working with everybody, and that's in addition to obviously wanting to create something of my own. That's what really draws me back to it, because everybody is so amazing and we have so much fun. And I think that's probably why people are drawn to the series, at least some of the reasons why, because I think they can feel the energy that we're putting into it, and they can definitely have fun with the fun moments, and then maybe be creeped out by the creepy moments, and that's good. That's a good balance in my book.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, like you had said earlier, I just from watching it, it's always going to be something different when you get there. I did notice there's a lot of nice fight choreography. You try to incorporate that, so that's good stuff too. I just think it's wonderful. I'm supportive of women in the industry in general, whether they're in front of the camera or, yeah, absolutely, or behind the camera. And I just think it's wonderful that as a woman, you're aspiring as a creator and you're doing that, and you're giving people chances, you're giving other women chances. And that's going to segue us into my next question here. You had mentioned to me, you do things as far as teaching goes and helping other women out. Please, could you let us know about that?
Yeah, of course. Well, I mean, the thing with this industry in general is that it's so collaborative, and I love it. So I think the perception of the film industry from the outside is kind of like, oh, it's cutthroat. It's either you or
Right.
it's me. But it's really not. Like, yes, some people have that point of view, but those are the non-successful people that we talked about before. Because you can't do it by yourself. Even me, it's
Right.
like, this, and this. No, I can't do it by myself. Like, so I love the collaboration of it. And yes, I do believe we need more women in all different roles in the film industry. And also, just to clarify, when I say women, that is all women, cis, trans, whatever it may be.
Excellent.
We need more, well, we need more representation of all kinds, but
correct.
Specifically my brand, which is so girl power, we need more women directors, fight choreographers,
Yeah.
stunt performers, of course. So in front of and behind the camera in all aspects. And that is definitely something that I'm very forward with Svet Studios, which is now my production company that produces the dinner movie Universe, of course. And actually one of the installments, Hors d'oeuvre, was entirely female. It was all women in front of and behind the camera, which was super cool. Even the role that is supposed to be a male figure is played by a woman. So it is entirely female. And then all the other installments, the more women that I can get, the better. Yes, the guys that I work with are amazing. And I would never be working with any of those like, oh, women should be in the kitchen. No, like, no, there's no my set.
That's right.
And non-binary individuals that we work with are phenomenal and supportive and inclusive and all of those amazing things.
Excellent.
But specifically for the ladies, again, of all different kinds, I am now starting a mentorship program with Svet Studios, where I will be mentoring female filmmakers. That is honestly the one and only requirement, is that you identify as a female. You can be of all different ages, and I will be working with one filmmaker at a time for a 4 to 5 week span of time, where I will them through a project that they are working on. So it's going to be super hands-on, and I'm really excited about it because I've done a lot of panels at film events, and I get so many questions, and I know I have so much to share, to where I felt like this was a really great way for me to hopefully contribute a little bit towards having more women in the film industry in all different roles, because I already teach acting, I already work with female performers, so I want to specifically focus on the female filmmakers in this case. And they can do other things like me, I'm in front of the camera, I'm behind the camera, I'm in all different ways, but I want to make sure that they are working on directing or writing or all of those other aspects as well. So I'm really, really excited to be moving forward with that now. Hopefully, a year from now, I have a whole little team of filmmakers that I've mentored, and we can do like an event, we can do a screening, we can do all kinds of different things, and they can network amongst each other. Let my birds fly, but I'm really excited about it. I am.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, Aleksandra, I'm a mental health advocate. So this is the portion where I like to ask anyone that comes on, if you could tell me in your own words how important mental health is to you, and what do you do to promote your own mental health?
Okay, yeah. Mental health is super important.
Yeah.
I think we can't do absolutely anything without taking care of our mental health.
Yeah.
I think sometimes creative people, we can be challenging with that. We can maybe get too busy to make time for ourselves and taking care of our mental health. Or sometimes you get that, the stereotype of like the angsty artist, and we think that we're supposed to be in a bad mental place in order to be amazing and creative. And those are all things that I think we need to be careful with, because we do not need to be miserable in order to be creative. That is not a good path to go down. And I've definitely been very guilty of getting too busy and neglecting my mental health and just being like, I'll do that later. I'll take care of myself later. I'm always like the last on my list. That is something that I've recognized, and that is something that I am working on, because that is not okay. It is
right.
We have to take care of our mental health, and also it is our responsibility to take care of our own mental health. It is not our partners or parents or anybody else. They can contribute to our positive mental health, absolutely, because if somebody's not contributing to your positive mental health, they should go. That is not somebody who should be in your life. But it is not their responsibility. That is not fair or feasible to try and put it on someone else and say, okay, it is up to you if I'm happy and healthy. That is not a successful combination there. That is not a way to go. So it is something that I'm always working myself to make sure that I am working on my own stuff.
Sure.
I'm taking care of listen, we all have issues. We all
right. Absolutely.
We all have things that we struggle with. We all have past traumas that we're trying to work through. And that's the key though. Like, it's not pretending that doesn't exist. It's not pretending like, oh, I'm over it. It's working through that, because if you don't let yourself deal with it or feel it, then it's going to continue to come back and bite you, down the line. And I think so. I'm always working on myself, and I'm always striving for balance, because I am always involved in so many different things and I love it. But again, what I've noticed I tend to do is then neglect myself, and that's not good. And I don't want to do that for the rest of my life. So I know I'm not perfect and I've done it before, but I'm trying to be better, and I'm trying to lead by example. And so now I'm really trying to make sure that I do things that are just for me. And I love what I do, but it's still work, right? Like if I'm doing dinner movie stuff, I love it so much, and it's so much fun, and it's the best, but it's work. It's still work, right? Or I draw, I'm an illustrator, right? So right now I'm working on a book. That's something else that I'm doing. We could talk about all my different projects all day, but do I love doing that? Yes. But is it still work? Yes.
Right.
I came to a point where I was like, okay, I need to find something to do that is not about work. I mean, I would probably take lessons out of anything and apply them towards other things that I'm doing, because that's just who I am. But I was like, okay, there needs to be something that the main purpose is just for me to do for myself, to have fun, to learn something, but it's not work-based. So for me, recently, that's been getting back into dancing, because that's what I grew up doing. And I think anybody can have hobbies. I don't have to be a professional dancer to dance, but it was just one of those things where over time I was like, I don't have time. So it just ended up kind of like falling off to the side, and I felt it inside of me, because I was like, there's this thing that I love to do, and there's this part of me that's been neglected, and it's affecting the rest of me. And I was like, that's not good. So with everything that's been going on in the last year, of course, there have been some positives, and we got to look for the bright side, right? So one of those things was there's so many online courses now. You don't have to physically go somewhere if you're not comfortable or you don't have the ability. A lot of, let's say, dancers that I follow and that I look up to are in other countries. So I could never physically go and train with them. That would be a lot of time and money and all those things. But now I can go online and I can find a course that I want to learn, and I can do it on my own time. You know, I don't have to be at the studio at this time every single day or week or whatever. I can just turn on my computer, turn on my phone, and just do whatever I want to do. And it's been really awesome. And it's been a great thing for my mental health. Absolutely. So that is something that I would really recommend for anybody. You know, if you're trying to find something, maybe think about what you used to do when you were a kid. And then
Yeah.
maybe you were somehow told like, well, unless you're going to be a professional at that, it's not worth your time. Or maybe you just forgot about it or whatever. But I think that's a great place to start if you're trying to find something new and something to do for yourself. But yeah, that's what it's been for me. Just jumping into as many different dance styles and learning different things as possible. It's been amazing.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing. Appreciate that. So this is the portion where I ask folks about, I love movies and I love food. So the scenario is, Aleksandra, you have the movie theater to yourself. You get to walk in and you get to put on your favorite movie. But not only that, you get to have whatever food you want in front of you. So for some folks, it's their favorite movie and their favorite food. For some folks, it's what they're feeling at the time. So what are you watching and what are you eating?
Oh my goodness. Options. So for me, I'm a really, really big fan of like classic, like 90s and late 80s action movies. So that is a big thing for me. And I've gotten the chance to see Die Hard on the big screen, which was amazing. And
All right.
Screen. So yes, so seeing those films has been awesome. But my favorite action movie is Speed.
All right.
I love it. I want to work with Keanu one day, with Sandra Bullock, with all the amazing actors. But I know like almost every word of that whole movie.
Awesome.
It's amazing. And also, just as a side note, now as a film person that I've done research, they actually had an amazing stunt coordinator, and they did everything really safely, and that just makes me love it even more, because I'm like, yes, they did it awesome and they did it right. We love it. And they had strong female character too, so that is awesome. So that is going to be my movie, because I haven't had a chance to watch it on the big screen yet, and I would really love to. So that's going to be my movie.
All right.
And food wise, I mean, I think everybody that knows me knows I love pizza. So
yes.
But that's definitely a thing. But you know, like Rick also, that you had Rick on your show, DINNERVERSE, he talked about pizza, obviously. So that's kind of been our thing with the Dinner Movie crew. We always make sure we have pizza. So it will have to be either pizza, or if we're talking about like, this is like a fantasy scenario.
Yes.
I would love to be able to and this is going to sound really simple, but I would love to just be able to have popcorn, because I have a lot of food intolerances and sensitivities. And I have popcorn anymore. So if I could have popcorn again, I think that would be amazing.
Oh, that's good stuff. See, someone else tried to say popcorn, and I said, that's everybody wants popcorn, you know, but you have a reason for wanting it. So that's pretty awesome. Well, Aleksandra, you are awesome. You do so much, and I think it's quite the inspiration. And I just wanted to thank you for coming on. I appreciate you, and I will see you soon.
Thank you so much.
Let's change the world.